I booked a $9,400 on a family trip to Japan for Dad's 60th birthday, planned every detail, booked every ticket, only to get a text that read, "We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun." My reply? Just 2 words, got it. That same night, I pulled the plug on everything. Flights, hotels, even the bullet train passes. Didn't matter if it was non-refundable. I canceled the whole damn trip. When they finally came back home, they found new locks on the door, a rent notice 3 times what it used to be, and their debit cards declining at the local coffee shop. And that? That was just me getting started. I remember staring at my phone screen, those little blinking dots dancing like they were teasing me, like more betrayal was coming if I just waited. The message came from my mom. No warning, no apology. Just calm, casual, like she hadn't just tossed out 3 months of planning and nearly 10 grand of my money. "We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend." Then she added the kicker, "She's more fun." No sorry. No reasoning. Just a digital punch to the gut, served with a smug little smile. And me? I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I typed back, "Got it," and I meant it. Then I did something no one in my family ever saw coming. I wrecked the whole trip. Cancelled everything. Didn't even flinch. I'd paid for the whole thing, so I had the power to tear it all down. And that night, I changed the locks on the house. Legally, the place was in my name anyway. They'd been squatting there rent-free for 5 years, whispering behind my back. Well, now it was my turn to laugh. But let me back things up a bit. Let me tell you how I got to the point where I could kill a family vacation, hike up the rent on my own parents, and cut Kevin, the golden child, out of my life like the freeloading parasite he was. It all started with a bad decision, trying to be the good son. Dad was turning 60, a big milestone. I figured, what better way to mark the occasion than taking the whole family to Japan? He always said he wanted to see the cherry blossoms in Kyoto before his knees gave out, and Mom? She worshipped sushi like it was sacred. Kevin, my younger brother, once told me his dream was to eat real ramen, not the instant stuff he practically lived on in college. So I did what nobody expected, I paid for all of it. Nearly 10 grand, spent on one big gesture. Flights, hotels, even train passes. I made dinner reservations, mapped out itineraries, and juggled it all while squeezing in work deadlines. I spent weekends comparing shrine locations to hotel options, triple-checking train schedules, making sure everything lined up. I even bumped them all up to premium economy for the flight. Me? I booked myself a budget seat and a tiny room in Osaka. Because I thought that's what love looked like. But Kevin has this gift. He always finds a way to remind me of my place in the family. I'm not the favorite. Not the fun one. I'm just the guy who foots the bill. So when I saw that text, "We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun." It didn't shock me. It woke me up. And clarity? Clarity's dangerous when someone's been getting used for years. They always figured I'd stay quiet. Until I didn't. The manipulation didn't come through outright demands, it came through guilt. Not love. Not duty. Just guilt. They never actually asked me to pay for anything. Not directly. They'd drop lines like, "Kevin's doing his best, but it's hard out there for young people," or "You're lucky to have such a good job, not everyone's as fortunate." Or the classic, "We're proud of you. Just wish Kevin had your motivation." At the beginning, I helped because I wanted to. Kevin was my little brother, and I thought giving him a hand with school was the right thing to do. I paid for his tuition, bought his books, even got him a new laptop when his old one mysteriously crapped out right before finals. But that help turned into expectation faster than I could blink. 3 months after graduation, he still hadn't filled out a single job application. Said he was figuring things out while playing FIFA in his underwear. Meanwhile, I'd come home after 12-hour shifts and find him lounging on my couch, eating takeout I paid for, in a house with my name on the deed. Mom would say, "He just needs time. Don't be too hard on him." Dad wouldn't even look up from his iPad. Just mutter, let the boy breathe. Like I was the problem. And then Kevin got a girlfriend. Madison. Or Mads, as she insisted I call her. She moved in 2 months after they met. No rent. No warning. Just one day, she was there, her stuff in my kitchen, hogging my Netflix, using my Wi-Fi like she owned the place. I caught her trying on my dress shoes one night for a TikTok skit. Don't be weird, she said with a wink. It's a bit. Kevin laughed. Dude, relax. She's hilarious. Yeah. Funny. That word would echo in my head for weeks. But I didn't say anything. I kept paying, kept quiet. Because family. Because I didn't want to upset Dad. Because I earned enough to not make a fuss. When Kevin got fired from the job I pulled strings to get him after showing up late 3 times in week 1, I covered his car payments just to keep his credit intact. When Madison wrecked her old sedan, I was dumb enough to co-sign for a used Mazda. My name, my risk. So when they casually announced they'd be tagging along on Dad's birthday trip, I didn't complain. I reworked everything, hotels, schedules, even my own time off, just to make room for them. And what did I get in return? We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. That wasn't just rude. That was a full-on wake-up call. Because in that one text, everything I suspected about my family fell into place. I wasn't cherished. I wasn't even liked. I was useful. Just a walking credit card with a pulse. And the most painful part? I'd let it happen. But they weren't finished. Not by a long shot. The morning after they touched down in Tokyo, Kevin texted me. Yo, can you send us some spending cash? Mads forgot her card and Dad says the exchange rates suck. I didn't respond. About an hour later, another ping. Come on, man. Don't be bitter. This trip's about Dad, not you. I almost hurled my phone across the room. They'd already hijacked my plans, my trip, my time with Dad. And still, they had the nerve to ask for more. But I didn't say a word. I let them have their moment. Let them post their carefully edited clips, pretending we were one big happy family, while I sat in the silence of a house they'd left behind empty, except for a bitterness I couldn't quite name. Then came day 5 of their so-called vacation. That's when the hotel called. Mr. Adams, the voice said, polite but strained, we're reaching out because the card on file for the group reservation has been declined. Then she added something else. There seems to be an issue with the registered guests, someone not authorized has been added to the suite. And just like that, it all clicked. That's how they pulled it off. They replaced me with Madison without even telling the hotel. Used my credit card to pay for her spot, thinking I'd be too dumb or too passive to notice. That was the moment. Not being cut out of my father's 60th birthday. Not the theft. Not even the money. It was the assumption that I'd just accept it. Like I always had. So I logged into my bank. Disputed every charge. Cancelled the card. Then I called the hotel back. All guests need to be removed. The reservation's been cancelled. And if anyone gives you trouble, please involve security. They're not authorized. There was a pause on the other end. Sir, they're still in the room. I know, I said calmly. They can figure out their own way home. They did. Eventually. And when they returned, everything had changed. I was in the kitchen when I heard the car doors slam shut out front. Then came the voices, loud, frantic. My mom's shrill tone. Kevin shouting. Madison, high-pitched and furious. I didn't hurry. Just stirred my coffee and waited. Then the pounding started. Boom. 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 Open the door. Kevin's voice, full of disbelief. We know you're in there. I walked to the front, mug still in hand. Peeked through the peephole. There they were. All three of them red-faced, windblown. Luggage piled at their feet. Madison was barefoot, for some reason. I unlocked the deadbolt. Cracked the door just enough to look them in the eye. "What happened to our keys?" Kevin barked. I took a slow sip. "Oh, the ones I had rekeyed? Yeah, they don't work anymore." "You're kidding," he snapped. "You're actually serious right now?" I nodded. Calm as ever. Dead serious. Mom tried to muscle past him. "We just flew 14 hours. We're tired. We're hungry." "You're trespassing," I said, unmoved. "This is private property." "You're joking," Madison sneered. "You're seriously locking out your own family?" I looked straight at her, let the silence sit for a beat too long. Then I said, flat and clear, "You're not my family." Her mouth dropped open. Kevin's eyes widened. "Okay, wow," he said. "This is messed up." "We were stranded in Osaka," he added, "with no money, no hotel, no Wi-Fi. Do you even get what that was like?" "Must have been rough," I said. "Being stuck in another country on someone else's dime." "Oh wait, that's exactly what you did." Kevin flushed a deep red. "You humiliated us," he hissed. "You shut everything down. We couldn't even get a cab to the airport. Everything was frozen." "Yeah," I said, crossing my arms. "That tends to happen when you commit credit card fraud." Mom gasped. "Fraud? Oh, don't be ridiculous." I raised my phone. Held up a screenshot from the hotel's email. The screen paused right on the highlighted words. "Unauthorized guest. Charges disputed." "Kevin," I asked, "did you or did you not add Madison to the suite using my name?" He opened his mouth. Closed it again. Looked at Madison. She shrugged. I stepped aside so they could see inside, not that there was much to look at. The couch? Gone. Dining table? Gone. All the furniture they used to sprawl on like they owned the place? Donated. Every piece. The walls were empty. I'd cleared out everything they'd ever touched. "You emptied the house?" Mom asked, stepping forward. "Correction," I said. "My house." Kevin's hands balled into fists. "We lived here 4 years. Without paying rent," I said. "Without helping. Without a shred of respect." Mom's face twisted up. "We're your family. This is sick. You're punishing us for one mistake?" I gave a single, joyless laugh. "One mistake? You stole my trip. Used my credit. Shoved me out of my own plans for my father's birthday because I wasn't fun enough. Do you even hear yourselves?" "You're being so petty," Madison said, rolling her eyes. "You're mad because we had a better time without you." That's when I stepped outside, fully. Closed the door behind me. "You really think this is about Japan?" I asked, quieter now. "You think this is about one trip? This is about every time I gave something up for you. Every cent I handed over. Every time I let you stay in this house, rent-free, while you laughed behind my back." "We didn't," Mom began. "You did," I said. "All of you. And I'm done." Kevin stared at me, stunned. "So what now? We're homeless?" "No," I said. "You've got 2 weeks. Rent's tripled, you cover the bills, and the guest suite's locked up tight. If you want to stay, you pay." He scoffed. "You can't be serious." Madison folded her arms. "You can't just evict us." "Actually," I said, pulling a folded copy of the lease out of my coat pocket, "I can. It's all legal. It's already done." "Oh, and those credit cards you've been using?" "Got a ping this morning when one got declined at the coffee shop." The silence hit hard. Heavy. I turned to head back inside, but Kevin grabbed my arm. "Wait, please," he said, his voice breaking. "You don't get it. I've got nowhere else to go." Madison, she thought the trip might help us get closer to the family. She didn't mean to screw you over. Madison opened her mouth like she was about to argue, but then she didn't. Kevin started crying. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just this strange, clean emptiness. Like someone had hit reset. "You were my brother," I said. "And you traded me out for entertainment value. That's not family. That's just bad reality TV." And with that, I turned around, went inside, and locked the door behind me. Left them standing there in the cold wind, staring at a house that wasn't theirs anymore. They'd come home to a new world. One where I didn't exist to clean up their mess. It took 3 days for the real unraveling to begin. The morning after they returned, it was too quiet. I expected fireworks. Guilt trips. Maybe even a full-blown pity parade in the family group chat. But nothing. I had breakfast by myself, coffee, a buttery croissant, and something I hadn't felt in years, peace. Not the kind of peace you hear, but the kind you carry around in your chest. Then, on day 4, my phone finally buzzed. A message from Mom. "Can we talk? I'm sorry about everything. We all made mistakes. Please don't do this to your father." I didn't write back. Not because I didn't have something to say, believe me, I did. But I didn't owe them a response anymore. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel the need to explain myself to people who never actually listened. And then came the fallout. Madison tried buying a coffee downtown. Card declined. Twice. I got the notifications and yeah, I smiled. She posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Some people are just vindictive." Then deleted it 5 minutes later. Next came the rent. A week after the new lease took effect, triple the old rate, I got an email. "Hi, we're struggling with the new rent. Is there any chance we could talk about alternatives?" No name. Just the generic family account. I didn't bother replying. Then there were jobs. Kevin, who had coasted for years, loafing around my house like it was his personal Airbnb, suddenly started working. A friend from my gym told me he'd seen Kevin folding towels at the front desk. Did I feel bad? Not at all. By then, I had moved into a small loft downtown. Concrete floors, tall windows, minimal furniture. No clutter. No random shoes by the door. No leftover food that wasn't mine. I had a routine: wake up at 7, hit the gym, work from home, take walks in the evening. And for the first time in years, every second, every dollar, every breath was mine. No one asking me to pitch in for groceries. No guilt-tripping calls from Mom saying, "But it's your brother, how can you say no?" Just quiet. In week 2, Kevin texted me. "I know I messed up. I really do." Mads left. She said this isn't what she signed up for. I get it now. You were right. I stared at that message for a while. This was the same Kevin who once laughed at my plans. Said I was uptight. Told me I didn't know how to live a little. Now he was alone. The so-called fun girlfriend? Gone. And suddenly, he had to face the wreckage without his human credit card. I didn't respond. And then came the big one, a letter from a lawyer. My parents were trying to claim partial ownership of the house. My attorney walked me through it. They're claiming they made financial contributions over the years, he said. We've asked for proof. So far, they haven't provided a thing. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so completely ridiculous, it barely deserved a reaction. They always believed that if I owned something, they were entitled to a piece of it. I remembered my mom's old line. This is a family home, sweetheart. What's yours is ours. Well, now ours meant nothing. She sent one more message. We didn't raise you to be like this. What would your father think? This time, I answered. You raised me to serve you. That ends now. The most surprising part wasn't their anger, it was how quickly they fell apart without me. Kevin was running himself into the ground, working 10-hour shifts just to make ends meet. Mom started calling old friends, the same ones she used to mock for having selfish kids. And Dad? Silent. As usual. He'd always stayed quiet. During every fight. Every betrayal. Every backhanded insult. He didn't pick sides. Didn't speak up. Loyalty to nothing but peace and quiet. Now they were finally living in the world they created, one where I didn't exist to glue the cracks together. And me? I sat on a new couch, in a space that felt truly mine. Sipping coffee nobody criticized. Surrounded by things I chose, no hand-me-down guilt. For the first time ever, I wasn't being used. I wasn't the family ATM. I wasn't the default fixer. And I wasn't angry. I was free. I used to think I was the problem. But really? I was the solution they drained dry. Sometimes, silence says more than yelling ever could. It's been 3 months since I cut them off. No more free rent. No more favors under the guise of brotherhood. No more pretending that family meant love instead of leverage. I thought I'd feel guilty. Or heartbroken. Maybe even lonely. But I don't. I feel something stronger now. Peace. I wake up without that pit in my stomach. No more waiting for the next request, the next favor that was never really a favor. When my phone buzzes, I don't flinch. I don't brace myself for a guilt trip disguised as a check-in. It's like stepping out of a fog. And for the first time in a long time, I can breathe. Last week, while unpacking at the new place, I found an old box. Photos. Birthday cards. A folder labeled family stuff. I opened it. Inside, old boarding passes. Receipts from vacations. Hotel bookings under my name. That's when it hit me. Every family memory we made? I paid for it. They used to call me cold. But I was the one who kept the lights on. I flipped through some of the photos. There I was, always smiling, always giving, always driving, always paying. And them? Relaxed. Happy. Like passengers in a car they never had to steer. Back then, I thought that meant I was strong. Now I know it just meant I was invisible. They didn't love me. They loved what I did for them. And when I stopped being useful, they stopped pretending to care. Kevin hasn't messaged me since Madison left. I heard he moved into a basement apartment. Started delivering food. And for once, I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel anything. Because his life? That's on him now. Not me. Madison scrubbed her socials clean. Deleted our photos. Unfollowed everyone in the family. Her fun ended when the free ride did. Mom sent one last message. We didn't raise you to be like this. We miss who you used to be. I replied. You miss the version of me who never said no. He's gone. Dad? Still silent. Of course. Always sipping his coffee while everything burned down around him. Never raised his voice. Never stepped in. He just watched. And honestly, that made him worse. Because his silence? It wasn't neutral. It was deadly. I stopped waiting for closure from them. So I gave it to myself. One night, I sat in my new place, no TV, no phone, just me and a glass of wine watching the city lights flicker in other people's windows. And for the first time, the silence didn't feel lonely. It felt earned. That night, I wrote something on a sticky note and slapped it on my bathroom mirror. I owe no one more than I owe myself. Every morning since, I've read it like a prayer. It's funny, the same people who drained me for years now say I'm distant. They say I've changed. Yeah. I have. I used to be the bridge they walked on. Now, I'm the ocean they can't cross. A few days ago, I got a message from Kevin's ex, Lisa. We barely spoke back when they were together. But she was always kind. Quiet. She wrote. You were the only one who saw it. The way they treated you, it wasn't right. I'm glad you got out. You saved yourself. That hit harder than I expected. Because somewhere along the way, I'd started to wonder if maybe it really was me. Lisa reminded me it wasn't. I wasn't crazy. I was just the first one to wake up. For years, I thought walking away made me selfish. Now I know it made me safe. They taught me love meant sacrifice. But the only one sacrificing anything was me. They call me cruel. I call it clarity. They call me heartless. I call it healing. They call me selfish. But only because I stopped being theirs. And the best part? I don't hate them. I don't wish them pain. I just don't owe them anything. And that kind of freedom? It feels like breathing for the very first time. Next week, I'm flying to Iceland. Solo trip. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. Never went. There was always some emergency. Some drama. Some vacation I paid for but never enjoyed. Not this time. This time, it's for me. And when I'm standing there, under that glowing sky, in the freezing air, thousands of miles from everything I used to carry, I'll finally say it out loud. I am not your safety net. I am not your plan B. I am not your bank, your backup, or your fool. I am me. And for the first time in my life? That's enough.